Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. So I hope you're well. I hope you had a great weekend. It was such good weather here in England. I don't know about you guys overseas and in the States, but we had such good weather in England. I was so blessed and got to go outside, did lots of training in the garden with my boyfriend. We went for some nice walks. I did an Easter egg hunt for the family, which was like a super cool quiz. So it was fun. I had a lovely time. And I had a real rest. I really needed it. Like, you guys know, I do all this energetic work, and sometimes I just need to zone out and do really earthly things because those of you that have booked in with me, the work we can do can get pretty esoteric, pretty out there, pretty transformative, but sometimes you just need to relax, eat some nice food, play outside, just get in the nature and slow right down. So I've been enjoying that because times are crazy and we need all the rest we can get, am I right? So yeah, I'm super excited about this podcast because I think you are going to love today's guest. He's someone that I met actually through my boyfriend, and I was interested in him really because he's like the only person around here that's actually knows Paul Check. So in my mind, I'm like, oh great, someone like me, someone who's as random as I am. But initially I was kind of apprehensive about meeting him because my boyfriend was like, oh, he's not into astrology, he thinks it's all a bit of BS. And it turns out actually he's kind of learning about it now, so I don't know if there was a pivot there or something, but I just thought anyone that's closed-minded to all this stuff, we're not going to get on. It's not going to happen because I'm mad batshit crazy on it. But turns out he's really awesome, and I know you are going to love him just as much as me. Okay, so we didn't talk about all the things that we could have talked about in this podcast. There was so much more we could have talked about. And right now, we've connected in the most challenging of times, but I definitely think, he has so much to offer you guys. So please connect with him. Today's guest, his name is Alex, not to be confused with my boyfriend Alex. So there's two Alexes. This Alex, he actually has a podcast, The Path to Self-Sovereignty himself, which I was a guest on this week. The episode, I'm not sure when it airs, but I'll let you guys know. But I talk about the astrology of coronavirus and we go all the places. So guys, check that episode out and head to his podcast, give it a follow, because he has some amazing guests on there. I think he's even had Jason Christoph on there, which is a big deal. So his story is really interesting. We kind of get onto that. He is essentially an entrepreneur who has made he's been really, really successful. But he is, he says that he's an avid student of the mysteries of life. And I think that's really important because he is also someone who remains grounded in this world because he ultimately wants to actually bring something to the planet. So he runs 3 companies, so he's definitely probably some kind of manifestor generator type person. But that's cool. We need energy type people in the world. Not everyone can be as non-energy as me. And he's just really exploring the esoteric side of who we are, and you can find all his links in the show notes. Please give him a follow because honestly, like, he's so interesting. And I'm just going to preface the whole episode by saying, sorry, guys, that we have strong accents. But if you can't deal with that, find another podcast, because this is what we are. This is how we're brought up. And yeah, so we're going to prove to you that Midlanders, even though our accents are a bit thick, we actually have something useful to offer. So enjoy the podcast, and please remember, if you want to reach out and book yourself an astrology reading in these testing times, if you want to reach out and get some distance Reiki, I know loads of you have been booking in for that. There are always a few spots left for people to sneak into the schedule, so please directly message me via email or just head to my website. You know the drill. It's all in the show notes. So have the very best day. Let me know what you think of this episode. Please tag me in your story if you listen, share it with your friends, and give Alex a lovely follow and let him know what you think as well. Thanks, guys, and let's welcome to the show Alex Hickman. I started recording already. Do you want to introduce yourself so that, you know, my listeners can learn a bit about you, understand who you are, what you do, what you share?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Alex Hickman. I've been on a path of self-discovery since I've been about 21. I was a professional sportsman before that. I played football in the UK. For anyone in the US, that's soccer over there. From 16 to 21, I was playing professional sports. An injury sort of cut that short. So my whole reality sort of got ripped from underneath me at that point, and I started questioning who I was and what was the point of all this. And, you know, a bloke being a bloke, I went into business and I was self-employed. I've never really had a job as such. I've always just been self-employed and you know, fighting the world, you know, for the first few years. I bought and sold millions of pounds worth of property in like 5 years, between 21 and 26. But during that time, I'd also like flown all the way around the world, been to India with a backpack on for a couple of months, and you know, I'd always had that like drive for a deeper connection and a deeper meaning and stuff in the world. And that's my main, you know, focus in life now. It has been for years, but you know, I'm still in business. I still run 3 or 4 different companies, and that keeps me grounded in the, you know, the objective reality that we live in. You know, my eyes doesn't get took off the deeper esoteric, more mystical nature of our own existence. That's sort of that's my main focus and value in life. But I think what I've noticed over the last 7 or 8 years is that a lot of people who fall down this line, whether that's through grace or whatever it is, they sometimes lose touch with the world and they don't know how to function properly. You know, they might lose friends and family and everything. And I went through that for a short time. I was very lucky to be able to like integrate a bit of wisdom with that. So yeah, that's been my path to date. I'm 28 years old now. And yeah, what a great time to be alive, yeah.
Yeah, colourful.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Interesting. I have a lot of questions. A lot.
Oh, cool.
All right. So I want to go back to like, okay, when you're playing professional sports, obviously it was a very different life then, I am guessing, different value system, different beliefs. At that moment, like that you get this injury, so everything you've been doing up until this point is set up. You've got a whole identity. I'm assuming you're not deep into the spiritual stuff then. I could be wrong, but that's just an assumption I'm making. And then you get this injury. And what was that like, having your whole identity, I guess, literally thrown down the pan. Because that's like, I know people like who are professionally ready to step up. Like my cousin, my ex-boyfriend, he was a professional javelin. He tears a tendon one day, that's it, like gone. And he had a crisis. So I'm just intrigued to see, what was it you went through at that time? How did you feel? How did you move through that? Because it is a crisis of sorts, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of people experience it in all different areas of life. You know, sport is one where it's a very masculine, especially the arena I was in, it's a very masculine area, so it's very egoic. And mine was real solid. You know, it's still pretty solid today at times, to be fair. It was real solid then. And it was like a death, I suppose, in a sense. I mean, women sometimes get it, you know, if they're pregnant and they have to stop working, or after they've had a baby, they're a completely new person, a new identity. And it was really no different, in the sense that everything I thought I wasn't anymore. But throughout my footballing career, which was very short, but growing up as a kid, I was always leading. I was always the captain of every club I played at. I won the Youth Player of the Year when I was 17, between 16 and 17. I'd always led. I'd always been captain of the clubs. And like life leaves clues, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I need to follow this. Something, I've been gifted something, I need to work with this. And when I look back in hindsight, I realise I've been given the gift of that leadership and being able to bring the best out of other people. So although it did sort of rip me apart, it also gave me time to, like the following 6 months were pretty difficult. But I used work and that as time to, it was like a meditation, to be honest, because I threw myself into work, self-employment. So I threw myself at it. I was very busy. I kept myself busy to avoid the pain that was going on. But it was also a focus for me as well. So it was two sides of the coin, you know. But I speak to my girlfriend. I've been with her before I played football and after I was playing football. And the shift was literally overnight. In stress levels was just went. I wasn't carrying that stress anymore. So, because you had to perform, and if you didn't, the nature of the changing room, as it were, the people, the dynamic, it was aggressive, and I brought that home every day. I was bringing aggression to. I'd be playing Xbox, as you do as a young kid, just playing Xbox, and I'd be shouting, throwing the remote controls, and instead of that, as soon as that finished, and I had no choice but to stop. That just finished. It was like, you know, the hero's journey. What's his name? Joseph Campbell of the hero's journey. It was like, now I look at it and I go, that was that section. At the time, when you're in it, you don't realise, do you? But in hindsight, it was the best thing that's ever happened, which tends to be what everybody says, isn't it? You know, when you go through the way, everyone says, oh, it's the best thing. And that's just my version of it.
Mm. It's interesting because, like, I think there's a common thing with those people that are like, I don't want to use the word overachievers, but like leaders, achievers. Right, hang on, I'm going to shut the window because someone's decided to Harley Davidson outside. Hang on. Jesus. I don't know what they do down there. It's like some Himley, but I swear they treat it like a strange back alley. Yeah, like overachievers, like, or leaders, when you're that young, it becomes part of your identity, like so much that, is it a virtue or is it a vice? You know, when we have to ask ourselves those questions, and only in hindsight, like I just look back at that time in my life and I'm like, you know, all I can think of is the energy that I was in, and it feels like very, you know, pitter, which is, you know, that fiery, masculine, forward. And I think the world as a collective, it's addicted to that. It doesn't know how to be in its like kaffir, still, spacey state, because if it's not in push, 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 I feel like it goes into the absolute polarity of that and disowns it. It goes, I'm going to disown that part of myself, and now I'm going to be super spiritual, and I'm actually not going to integrate in reality at all, and I'm going to take on a new identity, which is now I'm a spiritual person. And then that becomes an identity itself, which still is missing the point.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because you said that you went backpacking and went all around the world. And in my mind, I'm listening, and the energy is always looking for somewhere to land or somewhere to go. And like, you've probably come full circle and realizing now, because of the person you are and what the work you've done, that it's actually not anywhere. The place you were looking for is the place you already were. And we forget that, you know?
Well, that's the cosmic joke, isn't it? The giggle that everybody gets to. But at some point, everybody gets to, whether that's in 30 lifetimes or 50 lifetimes or now. I think that's where we need to, the point of acceptance and having one foot in the world and one foot out of it. There's a reason we're here. And to sit on a mountain, that might be the Dharma for a few people, but I don't think it's the Dharma of many.
Nope.
we need to bring out the creative expression that's in us, and I think that's missing in most seekers. And I don't want to make it sound condescending. It's just from what I've experienced. I sit in a Buddhist temple in Wolverhampton. You've got builders, you've got people who've come out of prison. You know, you've got decorators, you've got all sorts in there. They're not just sitting meditating all day. They're living their lives as well. You know, that's their dharma. So, yeah, good on them. I just think that's something that maybe, this is my new company, the path to self-sovereignty. This is what I'm sort of trying to bring into the world, an integration of an awakening of sorts. Because it's very staged. It's quite predictable what goes on, especially yourself. You're a shit hot astrologist. I think it's pretty predictable in people's existences, and the awakening process is fairly similar. So that's my path to self-sovereignty is how we're going to integrate these awakenings so that you can bring it to other people who might be having the same experiences as you.
Yeah. And that's so nice, because there's a lot of, like, I think spirituality in this, like where we are now, especially in 2020, it's like who you are now, you either got to step up, and how can your uniqueness and your unique expression actually benefit the whole. And if you're actually in that, I want to use authenticity as the word, but honestly, I think we're constantly refining that, because I think that shifts and changes. But how does that fit into benefiting the collective? Because ultimately, it's not serving the expansion of the universe. Like, even if your dharma is to sit on a mountain and meditate, that might be for the few, like you say, for the few. But really, like you're saying, how do you take that meditation and then apply it to your family when they're sitting around at the dinner table and someone's got all of their pained body playing out, someone over there's got all of their family karma playing out, and then who are you? And who are you when your partner snaps at you and you think, oh, you know, that's when it counts, because that's actually what we're dealing with here, not, you know.
Like reading a book and then just reading the book. It's the same principle. I'm a nightmare for it. I am. I've read hundreds of things. I couldn't tell you what they're about anymore.
It's so true. It's true, because so many people have knowledge, but right action, this is what speaks. The universe isn't hearing what you think sometimes, you know, but it's hearing what you do. Like, what are you actually doing? People are funny. I find it really funny. I've read so many fucking books and taken me years, and the amount of times I've sat in therapy, my therapist has said the same thing. And one week I just said to her, like, aren't you fucking fed up of hearing me say the same shit every week and then you saying the same shit back? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh. And then I think there's that thing, isn't there? There's the knowledge, there's reading on the books, like you say.
Mm.
The moment of application, that bit no one talks about, because that bit is fucking hard. And I think that is where we need so much courage. And there's not enough reverence for that portion of the application of what we have no idea who will be on the other side of it, or the reverse, when you let go of an identity. That's really scary. Like, what would you say to someone who's sitting there and, okay, they're sitting at home, they're listening to this podcast, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm doing this thing, or I'm being this person, I don't want to be like that anymore. But that's where they are. They're just there.
I congratulate them, first of all, because
Yeah.
more than most people are doing, and they've actually looked at themselves.
Yeah.
And as you say, courage, I'd also put in humility. Because two sides of the coin, I see we are the universe in a body, a point of consciousness in a meat suit. And that humility comes in when you sort of see that that's a gift. And when you surrender to that gift, sort of happening and doing, it does it itself. So, when you say get out your mind, because your mind's trying to create what you do. The mind's a fantastic tool, but most people, they're the slave to the mind. It's the other way around, isn't it? The mind needs to be the slave. And I think once you have humility, that you're everything that we've got here is a gift. We need to be grateful for it. Then the doingness happens as a byproduct of the beingness. Does that make sense? So who you are determines what you do. So when it comes to integrating, just work at becoming more whole. Because you're doing let's say your family's around a table, and like you just said, and the pain body's going mad. Who you are will then determine what you're going to do to that in that situation. If you're thinking about what you're doing, there's probably an incongruency somewhere. Does that make sense? It's quite difficult, and it might sound a bit fluffy, but it's like a martial artist. If you are predicting what's going to happen, you're going to mess up.
Mm.
If you see it and react to it, and not all reactive, you also need to be proactive. But if you're reactive to that, you can deal with it easier, like in a yin, in a flow, in a river down the, through the valley. If you try and resist that flow, you're going to be in a world of shit. And all these positionalities that we create for ourselves, like the person's, going mad, the anger's coming out and whatever. If you resist that anger, you're gonna bring it into yourself. You're gonna embody it yourself. So if you let that anger be there, your level of being, your light, if you like, will dissolve that itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it might sound a bit fluffy, and there's no substance, but the reality is that's what works. I can't sell that to nobody. That's why it sounds like it's got no substance. It's like you can't sell health. I can't sell your health. You are health, and that's the same principle.
Yeah, it could. So I see it the same. One thing that I always think is when, like you said, it's coming at you, the anger's coming at you, the way I see it and the way I phrase it, and I don't know if it's the same, but what I'm hearing and then how it lands for me is holding space without being dismissive. And something that I try to do without then trying to push and alter them, which is really hard, is to just be like, I want to try and understand where you're coming from. And I think if most of us would just put down our weapons, like, Seven of Wands, put down the weapons, and can we like just try and understand that there's absolutely no one truth. There are some truths, like, you know, you are health, but there's like, it doesn't, there's not one single right or wrong here, usually. It's just how it is for you. You know, when it comes to relationship, for example, and the same with health, you know, you can't, you said you are health, well, you can't homogenize health. I freaking spent years addicted to the idea of health because I had a fear of death, and it would just cycle in all these ways: veganism, paleo, keto, fucking this, every ism going. And a lot of my listeners, that's where they are. They're stuck in these isms, and it's like it just becomes another identity. It's missing, because truth itself is not sexy. I can't put a label on that and make it sexy for you because it just is. It's like if your body suddenly wakes up one day and craves, you know, organic grass-fed steak or something, but then like this has happened to me, and then I'm like, oh, but you know, my partner's vegan, you know, I can't find it anywhere, it costs a lot of money, it's all these, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, you know, we just block ourselves so much in the isms and the block and the, you know, all those things.
Yeah, I've been down that path. I've been down the vegan and fruitarian in the sun and all that.
Oh, I really want to ask you about this, actually, because this is one thing, because, you know, you were vegan, vegetarian, vegan, fruitarian.
Vegetarian first, then vegan, then fruitarian.
Okay,
then
what was
vegan.
All right, sorry. I'm like, oh, I get excited, man. So why did you choose in the first instance to say, I'm going to stop having meat? So talk me through that choice.
I remember it clear as day, actually. I was just about to go on a personal development course. I was 22, so it was just a year after I'd stopped playing football. And I was at the Costa, just grabbed a cappuccino or something, and I was looking at the sandwiches. There was a cheese and a ham panini, or a cheese and tomato panini.
I know exactly what paninis you mean. I used to work there.
yeah, okay. And then I thought to myself, if I have the cheese and tomato, I'm not going to eat meat again. And that was it. And I just chose the cheese and tomato, and that was it. I didn't eat meat then for another 7 years. That was the story of how I become vegetarian.
It was just a thought like that.
Yeah, it just come up with thought. Well, my girlfriend was vegetarian anyway. She'd been vegan for years, to be fair.
Okay.
She'd been vegan since like 16 or something.
Yeah.
So, but that didn't make the decision. It probably made it easier because the food, you know, in the house and whatever. But I tend to, what I say I do. So when I said it to myself, I did it. It may be a bit stupid or whatever at the time, but it was a good decision because it helped me. I think diet, vegetarian, veganism, when you remove animal flesh, I do think that it does help you, excuse the dogma, but it does help you ascend a little bit.
Yeah,
I think, but I do think you also have to be ready to be a vegetarian and a vegan, or a vegan, sorry. We are animals in the physical sense, and you can't try to run away from that point. That's what I see a lot of people do. They're wasting away because of the ethics of eating an animal. I'm not going to disagree that some of the things that go on are horrendous, and I do my utmost to get around all that. But we've also been given the gift of physical body, and we need to nourish that to the best that we can. So I went vegetarian 7 or 8 years ago. I went vegan about 3 or 4 years ago. Fruitarian was like a week or two. That was real bad.
Oh, I can't believe you did that.
Shed weight. I can't do it here now because to be fair, I could probably do it here for a few days because the sun's out and I work with the sun a lot, and that nourishes me a lot. So I could probably get away with fruit now, for just a few days fruit diet. But in the winter months, I sat there last June, July, I think it was. The sun was out, nice day, and I just thought, I need to start eating meat again. There's something in me here calling me to start eating flesh again. And I meditated on it for days, because it's not an easy decision when you've done it for that long. I mean, that's 8% of your life that you've not eaten meat for. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I started chicken and broccoli, and that was it really. Just sort of turned me back onto meat, and I've lived that way since the middle of last year now.
Mm-hmm. And what's changed for you since doing that, health-wise?
Physically a lot stronger. For anyone who does weights and everything out there, I did about 30% gain in a month on weights. So it does make a big difference. Oh, it's enormous. And I was dumping oxalates like left, right and centre as well. Yeah. When I first went on, I was dumping.
Yeah.
I think, so the way I see it now is fruit cleanses, it detoxes. Mm-hmm. And I see meat, organic, free-range, grass-fed, nourishes.
Yeah.
You can't detox all your life. And there's a big time to detox. I think we should be doing it maybe even monthly, properly, at least yearly, while the sun's the highest in the sky, and direct on you as much as possible. But we're living in England. If we're in the middle of winter, what fruit do we have? We have next to no fruit.
No, not really, no.
Not that grows naturally and locally.
No.
Unless it's flown in from New Zealand or somewhere, Australia or something, we don't have fruit. So why on earth do we think it's normal to eat it? Not bringing skin colour into it, but the reality is black people eat differently to white people because of the level of exposure they need to the sun. It's not a difficult process to understand. It's just that people generally don't want to look at it because of the way the world's gone. It's a masculine thing. Again, what's happened with the animal agriculture. We need profit, we need money, we need, going after it. Just take a step back and actually look at it. There's a lot of really good farmers around here locally who look after their stock. And if you go local, eat local, you're doing benefit for everybody, the local environment and the big environment as well. So.
Yeah.
That's my experience with diet, but I'm not a carnivore or anything like that. No labels attached to it. But we'll see where it goes. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I look at it. I mean, it's funny what you say about oxalates. My inflammation has gone up horrendously since I was. I've always been vegetarian, but try being a keto vegan on an AIP diet. May as well fucking just go and die. But I did it because I'm the best diet in the world. No, but on a serious note, my inflammation has never been higher, and my health has never been as spiritually. My health is a lot better, so I can get away with more because I've overcome so much like trauma, a real backlog of that. But now I'm noticing that the spiritual work it will always be ongoing, don't get me wrong, 100%, but I've noticed now that veganism has become a vice. But it's like, how do I how do you navigate that change? And I'm not taking it lightly at all. And to be honest, for me, it would look like having organ meats organically, the best I can get, once a month or something, or once a week. That would just feel to me. And I tried to integrate them. I actually had to integrate them when I was overcoming quite a severe inflammatory bowel disease, because it was just so bad. And I remember gagging. I bought some chicken hearts and I just remember absolutely gagging. I was like, not ready for them. And my brain, there was an incongruence going on. My body was going, give it me, give it me. but my brain was going, oh, veganism. And that was really hard. And it's like, for me, I'm really slow to make changes. And it's so interesting that you could just trust your body and go, yeah. But for me, it's like, I get caught in what do people think. It's interesting. But you, so that's my journey. I'm going on with food at the moment.
But that's understandable. That's understandable. It's when you love yourself enough to do what's right rather than what people perceive is right.
Exactly. But it's hard because, you know, in my relationships, my close relationships, veganism is really important to those people close around me. And it's, so it becomes difficult. So let's
I'll cook you some liver and bacon. Come in, mate.
I'll come around. I'm going to ours to eat animals. Okay. Okay, but it is, when you said fruit detoxes, meat nourishes, the way we would look at that Ayurvedically, I don't know if you know, fruit is vata, meat is kapha, thickening, beginning, whatever the words are. But people are addicted to vata. They're addicted to detox. We've got this mentality in the West that less calories is better. Where's
Yeah.
not better?
What is the calorie?
Well, exactly. Energy.
It's just a unit of energy. It's essentially heat.
Yeah, heat.
So when you go for a run or do exercise, your body heats up, expends energy. It's a very basic principle. It's very basic, but that's essentially what it is. And fruit isn't necessarily low in calories. Some of it is very, very high in calories. And the glycemic index, some of the fruits that we eat are pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're in the British winter time and we're eating bananas,
got no business doing that.
There's a problem.
Yeah,
it's not normal. You know, and Ayurvedic medicine, big. I used to be a big proponent of Ayurvedic medicine. Now I realise that it was born of India for a reason.
Yes.
We're not Indian.
Nope.
and Indian people who live here, it may benefit them to a degree, but if they were born here, probably not as much as back at home. I know a lady, my girlfriend's one of her best friends. She lives in London now, working, very stressed with work and everything, and she flies over to India with her family and sees an Ayurvedic doctor.
Oh, yeah.
But she's sick. She's been sick for years. And this doctor's not, with the greatest of respect, is not healing her.
No.
It's stuck to any process has a dogmatic belief around it. And there's no difference whatsoever. It's still the same. I've got books on Ayurvedic medicine upstairs. Nothing changes. You're your own experiment. You're the answer to everything. You know, you can take guides from little things and try it yourself. Sit on a stool or wherever your meditation chair is, or whatever you do, and just speak to your soul and shut up. It's like the answer to most things in life is just do that.
Yeah.
I can't sell it. No one can sell that.
Yeah. You're so right.
It's like science this, science that, science this, science that. Most of science now is bought and paid for. Most of science is so materialist. You've got the quantum world and the plasmic world, we're moving into that now. But most of it is still a material paradigm. And even Ayurvedic medicine, in my opinion, is stuck.
Yeah.
If it went, find out yourself, try this, try that. Sit down, speak to yourself, speak to your higher mind. What's coming back? How are you feeling when you eat that in your you know, your the meridians of your body? Does anything feel blocked? Is anything missing? Any colours that you're picking up when you're eating them? I'd have more, not respect, because I respect everything, but more. I'd look into it even deeper if it was more of a holistic approach. I don't think it necessarily is. I think it presents itself to be, but I don't actually think it is. Does that make sense?
That's really interesting. It makes sense. So when I learned Ayurveda, my Ayurveda teacher was very much like, you take the wisdom and you apply it, because like for me, there's no way, like, it was India. So I think about what it was India, like what, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. Of course, it can't be the same. And I'm not Indian, you know. But I do think I was always taught in Ayurveda, there was exercises where we were meditating on each cubic centimetre of our pelvis, for example. That taught me so much. But again, everything I do and when I work with clients, but even for myself, is how does this make me feel? Because like the only answer, like you say, is go in. And it's so hard because every podcast I seem to record, or every piece of coaching I put out, and every astrology reading I do, the advice always ends up being the same and saying, go in, because the answer's there. And then you just feel like you know, swatting people with this BS, but it's actually not. It's like, trust me, there's nothing I can tell you. I can teach you how to go in. That's what I can teach you. I can teach you some tools. They might not even work for you. But this is what I know. But there's, you know, everything we read, and, you know, I can quickly put people on pedestals if what I read from them is what I wanted to hear at that time. 2 years down the line, I'll be like, God, that was really, you know, I used to think Deepak Chopra was great. And then now I'm like, oh, he's a bit of a bypasser, really. He talks a lot, but he's bypassing us, you know? So it really is interesting that it's just go in and then decide from there what I'm going to do.
And I think it's important to, so the way I frame it up with people is, do you believe in an infinite source? Do you believe in God, if you like, if you want to use religious context, whatever? Do you believe in it? A lot of people say yes, more than most people realise, actually.
Yeah.
And I ask the question, particularly to Christians, because I have good fun with religious people.
Really?
I say, well, is he infinite? They say, yes, definitely infinite. Okay, so if he's infinite, does he make mistakes? Can he? Is it possible? And then, you know, they see the brain ticking a little bit. There is it's an impossibility to make a mistake if one thing is infinite, because there's nothing else that exists, is there? So if everything's exactly as it should be, it's only our resistance to what is that creates the friction and creates the position that makes us depressed, anxious, whatever else. It's the same with diet. You've never done anything wrong. Ayurvedic medicine, perfect, fine, just it is what it is, but it still ain't the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you ain't. I always say you can't find the answer looking elsewhere. If you're looking outside, it's fine. It can be a trigger, but all it's doing when I read something is triggering something in me. If I react negatively, I'm like, I don't agree with that. Then I'm like, okay, so what does that mean for my human meat bag in this life? What does the meat bag say, yes or no? Because this meat bag has these specific needs, and it really doesn't actually fucking matter that much.
And like people who really own that, a lot of them, they're the ones who end up on the mountain, because they own it and realise, oh, the world's just the world, just leave it where it is. And I'm going to go up to the mountain. And that serves a great purpose for a lot of people. But the people now who are trying to bring that back into the world, that also isn't a mistake. That's their dharma, to bring that through to the world. And that's what I see, I think, is missing a little bit in the community at the moment. The world seems to be in a state of change, serious change. And with this change, used like a phoenix. In Hermeticism, they have the archetype of the phoenix, where it destroys and then, you know, born again, as it were. And I think we're going through that as we speak now. And it's not a mistake. You know, we all go after Bill Gates and whatever. Bill Gates is playing his role perfectly well.
Yeah, it's
we can all moan at him. We can all moan at him, and I'll moan at him as much as anybody, and we have a laugh and whatever else. But there's no such thing as mistakes here.
No.
You know. So congratulate Bill Gates on playing Bill Gates. He's doing a damn good job.
I know you're right. And it's, you know what, I look at things archetypally as well. That helps me to just see it as it's just a different energy. Like, his energy is the only energy I could say it drives me up the frigging wall. But I actually laugh at it, and he actually provides me with a lot of entertainment. Like, and I shouldn't say that, because he's really, you know, he's like, oh God, I mean, I can't really go into that now, but he, you know, in a dark time, all the lizard gifts that I can find for Bill Gates, they give me like a lot of joy, like whatever, you know, and I mean it with tongue in cheek, because actually he's only reflecting to us something that's going on in our collective unconscious that we need to own and integrate. And astrologically, the Phoenix archetype, it's Pluto, and this is we've been saying, it's been going for ages, but it's Pluto is only concerned with like truth. Jupiter's truth, but Pluto is like truth, as in like boom, the absolute truth at the very deepest level, which will probably make sense to you because you can get a feeling of it. That's the archetype of it. But if there's any false lines, and there's like just incongruencies or dirt that needs to be dug up, that it needs to be like held and shifted, it's hard to find the words really for what it does. It just puts everything into crisis, and it just goes crisis. But it has to, because it's like the Scorpio archetype, the Phoenix archetype. It trashes it all down. It's like the Tower of Babel. It's the Tower card. It's that card. And then it goes, right, now, how do we rebuild in a more loving place? Because love literally replaces fear. That's like the Plutonian kind of thing. And that's why at the moment, and for the last 6 months, we've experienced a rapid rise, definitely, in people that are going through crisis. And I'm using the word crisis because they are crises of sorts. And it's like, I feel like the generation that, our generation, because I'm in your age here, how it works astrologically, we're going through similar cycles. And I feel like we've just been put through that mystery school, like on a boom, like, you know. So we were ready to somehow assist. I don't know how it is really, but in our own unique way, some part of the jigsaw piece, you know.
So do you think that we've all chose to come here at this time?
I don't know how I feel about that belief, because I just think, in my mind, I'm like, I get a bit confuzzled here, because I'm like, on one hand, astrology has arguments that our soul elects in, because it's not like I'm going to go there. It's more like the soul needs to experience that, to integrate, to complete, and have experienced everything as consciousness wants to experience itself and expand through human form. And it's not necessarily like I'm going to choose that. But the soul, definitely in an astrological perspective, whether I agree or not, I still don't really know. But you can definitely see it in people's charts, wants to integrate a certain thing, but it's always relevant to like where it's come from. And we say past lives, but to me, it's not the past. It's all happening now on different levels and layers. Do I think we choose to come in? Maybe. What do you think?
If I was a betting man, I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man. But I don't know. I don't know how it works. I've never been. I'm not evolved enough, should I say, or I haven't been evolved enough at that time to realise it before. So I don't know is the answer. But if I was a betting man, I'd say yeah.
Have you done any sort of like past life regression, anything like that?
I've stayed away. I've stayed away from it all, to be honest. I do believe in it. I think it's very possible for very certain people. I think there's a lot of charlatans out there, same as most things.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm adverse to. Just never done it, to be honest. I'm learning the tarot deeply now. I've got the Thoth deck, which was Alistair Crowley's deck.
Oh, ouch! That's a
Yeah.
go
Alistair,
in.
Alistair Crowley's got a bit of a bad rap, and so I thought, yeah, we'll have a bit of him.
No, I love his deck. Screw it, man.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. No, I wanted a piece. So I've got that. I'm learning the tarot. And I want to get into astrology a lot deeper. But that doesn't make you any more of a human being or any better as a human being. It just makes what you're attracted to and stuff, and go after it. Magnetize it yourself.
Astrology definitely helps me. I don't believe it is a definitive term, but I do have a laugh at the memes because they're true. It's just but again, it's like anything, it's what you make of it. And the tarot is interesting. So would 18-year-old you, what would he say about you learning the tarot?
Yes, I don't know. He probably thought, what the fucking hell are you doing there? Something like that, I'm not sure. Honestly, I've got no idea. I couldn't have written what's gone on. I couldn't have wrote what's gone on at all. In the morning, I'm down in London in the business district with a suit on, and then at night I'm reading the tarot and going to the Buddhist temple. It makes no sense whatsoever.
It's not supposed to.
But, I love it, to be fair, and I've got a strange addiction to working. It's not an avoidance thing. I just love what I do. So I don't want to go to sleep. I'll sit here with candlelight on in my office and I'll just work and study and write. I'd rather do that than go to bed and put Netflix on or something.
Yeah, I absolutely love what I do. I call it work, but to me, podcasting, like doing this, it's great. Coaching people, reading astrology, all I'm doing is just giving them a little trigger pick. To me, it makes it doesn't really make much sense. And to call, I feel like you're the same as me in a way that I always want to be an eternal student. The constant pursuit of knowledge, it's never enough. And I'll sign up for courses because if I had, an abundance of money, it would all go on teachers. I'd just find the best teacher at that and be like, right, what do you know? I'm interested, But so how are you finding learning the tarot?
Yeah, good. I spend 2 hours every morning and I meditate on them, each one individually, and I try and embody the archetype itself. And then after that, I write experience, and then I'll write. There's a lady called the Tarot Handbook. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know it? Angelis Arian. She works a lot with archetypes, myths, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think she was a student of Carl Jung.
Oh, so archetypes are huge.
Yeah, I've got enormous. So yeah, that's what I do. It's probably not the normal way of learning the tarot. I try and actually become them in my psyche.
That's how I do it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Do you know what I mean? That's what Paul Chek says. I can see his little book behind you, How to Eat, Move and Be Healthy. Could recognise that. Keep telling us.
Yeah.
I love the poop scale, the poop police, poop patrol. I'm going there. I'm like, which one am I? So yeah, I think with anything, embodying is huge. I do it with planets. So if I really, because some planets I just didn't understand, and I saw them play out in my life, but now when I sit with them, I'm like, woof, and I feel the energy. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So how else can you understand it? The same as so at the moment I'm working with the Empress, because that's the energy I want to keep invoking, the nurture and preparing my body to be able to birth a child. My choices from her place are so different, because my authority is definitely more Capricorn, Aries. It's like the devil, the emperor. That's my energy. So I'm having to evolve into that kind of totally different energy. I think it's helpful. I think that's the best way to learn. Yeah. Did you, I'm curious, did you hear Paul Chek's podcast where he had the guy on, don't remember his name, and he had the tarot deck? and they were talking. I think it's like
James Wondrous or something.
Yeah, yeah, and
then, didn't he?
Yeah, and he talked all about that tarot deck. That's a really good one.
I mean, I haven't got hold of it. I've got him on Facebook, actually. I added him after. He's got some good posts and stuff.
Yeah.
So check him out. Yeah, he's good. But that Arian, and what's her name? Angela's Arian. She wrote like a book on shamanism as well, which is very, very powerful book. I'd highly recommend that. And the 4 symbols, I think one of them are called. That was about the warrior, the archetype of the warrior and the medicine man. And I'm getting trained in shamanism. I'm very wary of saying anybody's a shaman.
Well, no shamans do, by the way.
It's complete reference, that title does.
It's how I try and say this. I'm not going to walk around like Billy Big Bollocks and be like, I'm a shaman. But honestly, I was scared of it. And then when I realised it was what I was practicing, I was like, shit, okay. Because it to me, it's the real like path to, I guess, truth, like But so so I go to a psychotherapy. I just go once a month now. I'll never leave because she is like my guide. But the guy who founded it, he's a clinical psychotherapist. He's got all these massive accreditations, but essentially he's a shaman. And every piece of like content he produces, it's just insane. Like it's just the layers of depth. So what we're going to go over, but I just want to ask you, shamanism, this is fun. Have you done plant journeys? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you feel comfortable sharing anything, or?
Yeah, sure. Open book. Ayahuasca I've done 4 or 5 times now, I think. Yeah, that's Cambo I'm going to be doing soon, but ayahuasca is, what else? I've done mushrooms. I think most people have done mushrooms, haven't they? But plant medicine, in terms of actual work, it's just ayahuasca. And words don't do things like that justice. It's like if you've had the grace of God touch your head or something, you can't go around explaining that to people because it makes no sense. It's just completely ineffable.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with ayahuasca. I mean, I'll get an experience I had I think it was the 3rd night of the one ceremony. And the shaman was singing. And it was like, how can I explain it? It was like if you're a man, I'm trying to lineate something that's non-linear here.
It's
but if you can imagine the shaman singing, and it like gripped me. It was like my energy body or astral body, however you're defining it, got attached to this shaman. And he was talking to me, not through the song, but elsewhere. He said, go and have a drink. So I went in the kitchen, went to have a drink. And within 5 seconds, I was throwing up everywhere. He had already put the liquid there for me. It was already made. Do you know what I mean? So I drank it, I was chucking up everywhere, and within 10, 15 seconds, everything just exploded. And it was like, I was like, oh, I need help, I really need help, and whatever. It was like, because it was so, I'm very grounded and very centered, and this just completely wiped that away. I just lost control of everything. And the shaman was over me then, because he knew what was happening. He's not stupid. He's dealt with this. He deals with this every weekend, you know. The very specific shaman who worked with ayahuasca. It's not any shaman.
No.
You have to be a specific type. And one of the helpers, who was a lady, she started doing Reiki on me and stuff because the shaman was telling her what to do. And as I started coming down from that, he was like having a laugh with me and everything. And then he said to me, that was because you need to lighten up. And that was about 3 years ago now. That's because you need to lighten up, basically, was what it was. You're holding back whatever expression or something in any way. So, taking things too serious, which I think we all do at times, don't we?
Yeah.
And that was what all that was. It was the most intense, insane experience I've ever had in my life. I think there was more to it than that, because I literally felt the heart rip open, and then he played a different song, and then it was as if it was being knitted again. So that artwork, it's art. That's not like a job. That is like drawing a masterpiece of painting. What they do in the realm of spirit, isn't it fascinating?
Working with spirit is, I mean, we're all doing it, but the more conscious you become of it. What I do in Reiki it's not me. And I don't mean that to be like self-deprecating or whatever. I just get out of the way, and I have a shaman guide. That's how he appears to me. I also have an angelic guide. I know I sound like I'm batshit crazy. I don't tell people this really, because I think it just gets too ego. I don't tell people about the process. I just tell them what to do, aftercare. But like, I'm often singing because I'm a sound healer, but that's just because I've done music my whole life. But one goal I have is to be able to use my music in a very sacred and ceremonial way. Because when I do sound healing in yoga studios, it's close, but it's not, there's something missing. And when I am to just sing for the pleasure of singing, to channel sound, I'm getting like overtones on my voice and crazy shit, man. I don't know what happens. And when I play my flute, people are like, it's like they go to other places, and that's when I'm in flow state. But it's crazy. And I think the thing about shamanism, as you say, it's like you don't want to say, because there's just such reverence for it, but I think for me it's like the ultimate mystery school. Like I practice shamanic astrology, and it's so funny you said the archetypes are like the warrior and the, those archetypes, because they're in shamanic astrology as the Aries archetype, and the Capricorn is the leader. But so interesting, because he said you need to lighten up. And one of the shamanic schools is literally, they're here to purely experience fun and light and joy and playfulness. And I think if we could all integrate that a bit more in our spiritual journey, especially half of the women that I speak to, I'm like, look, you need to have more fun. You just be nicer to yourself. Like, we could all just have a bit more fun. It would just be great. Not escapism, fun.
No.
You know what I mean?
It really, the only reason we don't do that, I think, is because of the conditioning we've got being put on top of us. Most people want to do things that make them happy. And this scenario we're in at the moment, if it's released later on, I don't know, but we're in lockdown, as it were. I hate that phrase, but we're in lockdown, and it's forced people to do certain things that they wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah.
A lot of mothers, they want more time. They want more time with the kids. Well, you've got it now. Be careful what you wish for. You've got it. I don't want as much time at work. Well, you've got it. Enjoy it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Learn what you need to learn. Well, not what you need to learn, but learn what you want to learn and study what you want to study. If you want to dope out on Netflix, do that for a bit. Whatever.
And sometimes that is spiritual, to dope out on Netflix. If you've been burning your ass off in the office, sometimes you actually need to sit back and just, I say, sometimes that's a spiritual act. Because if you're doing it consciously, like last night, they were all watching a horror film downstairs, and we were going to play.
I can't watch them.
Right, look, this is my thing. I love films that make me think, like The Matrix or Inception, right? I'm cool with that. But like, I've had enough trauma in my life, right? Fucking walk into Warsaw where I live. I'm not being funny. That's a trauma. Like, I'm holding space a lot of the time for, I want to say, heavy things. And in my downtime, I want to hug, I want to cuddle, I want to cook, I want to be in the nature and watch comedy. If I'm going to watch something, comedy or Gaia, something that is like giving me something. But like when you watch horror, you're just actively putting yourself in that vibration. I can't cope, man. I was like, this is just torture. I said, look, and I went upstairs and I watched Vicar of Dibley, and it was great. And I just had a lovely time. But totally get you. I'm not on that. I'm not on that hype.
I hate that. I hate music as well. That's like that, you know. They like tell you that they're going to kill you and shoot you in the head and all that type of music, like gangster rap and all that. I can't be doing all that.
It's horrible.
But if you can embody that and embrace it and energize it, transmute it, then good for you, I suppose.
Yeah, it's how you use it. It's how you use it, but
it's not my bag. But good on you.
Yeah, well, oh no. Even using the terminology, like, you know, we all have those throwaway sentences like flogging a dead horse and stuff. But when we think about what we're actually saying vibrationally, not very nice. Yeah.
Stink like a
so we need to wrap up because, you know, we don't need to, but I've got clients. So I'm curious. One question I wanted to ask you, I like to ask people little questions at the end, but one for you that I was like, I want to ask you this question. 2 questions.
Yeah.
What drives you to be a leader? Because it's very clear to me you're a leader.
Well, thank you. What drives me to be a leader?
To lead.
What drives me to lead? As I said earlier, it's innate. I've always been sort of the person who's stepped up when I've needed to. I actually avoid a lot of situations where I need to lead. Where I'm expected to lead, and I don't feel the necessity to do it. I won't get involved in it. I'll just say no, not for me, even if people are expecting it. But when the shit hits the fan, I'll be the first one to get out there and stand at the front line. That's just innate. It always has been. So what inspires me, I think it's sort of a gift. I don't know what that is. I don't think about it enough to have ever questioned what inspires me. I suppose that it's for the betterment of the situation. I just want to bring alignment with harmony. It's probably the best way to put it, I think. Alignment with harmony. I don't want, if someone comes to my house trying to vaccinate me in that, I'm going to try and stop them. I'm going to shoot them or something.
Don't blame you.
It's like, that's just the way it's going to be. I think that's a bit of a shit answer, but that's all I got.
Nah, it's the same as if someone said, like, what inspires me to study astrology? I'm like, because it just is. Just, you know, or...
So you are?
Yeah, why are you good at something? Well, it's effortless.
That's it. Yeah.
But it's interesting you choose when, and this is it. Being conscious with your energy placement is important because, like, you don't want to waste that energy until it really matters, and that shows wisdom and good discernment about where you're placing it. Because a lot of people, it's like, I don't know if you know your human design, but I'd be really interested to find. Do you know what your human design is?
I've got it written down. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but yeah.
You're a manifester.
I can't remember. I'll be lying if I said, so I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, let me know, because you know, people like living out of their design type. Like, I'm a projector. I am not here to initiate. I can't initiate. I'm here to be invited. then when the invitation comes, I can choose it. And that's like a bit like you were saying, but it's different. You might be like a manifesting generator or a manifester, where it's a different strategy. So you can still choose to respond to those invites, kind of thing. But for those, like if you're a non-energy type, which I don't know if you are, I don't feel like you are, you really haven't got the energy to sustain it. But even energy types, when they're out of alignment and they just waste their energy, then you're not going to have it when it matters, you know. And the last thing I wanted to ask you is if you could put one book in all schools, what would it be?
In a school, so it's got to be aimed at children.
Well, you know, like secondary. You know, if you were growing up, the book that you needed, but you know, they gave you War and Peace and Shakespeare instead.
Okay, yeah. I'd probably, as a man, and I'm going to be selfish. As a man, I'd put a book on like divine warriorship or something like that. I'd probably do that. She's made a big difference in my life, that Angela Sarian, and her book on the warrior archetype and another few of them, that was a game changer. So although it was written for an advanced person, to be fair, rather than a child, I'd recommend that.
Maybe you can make it for children.
Yeah. I'm sure it's possible.
You'll have to get on her pod. You have to get her on your podcast.
I think she might be dead, you know.
Oh, still could channel.
Yeah, I'll try. Never been able to do that. Never tried, in all fairness.
Mate, I learned with this. So I went and learnt mediumship because, you know, why not? And you just feel like you're making it up. I felt like an imposter. It's weird. That's a conversation for another time. But when you get it come to you, you'll know. It's undeniable. It's absolutely undeniable. I get it quite often with people. Yeah. And the auras and all that shit. But you know,
you've got a lot of gifts, man. You've got a lot of gifts.
I wasn't, but I had to work on them. You know, it's not that I'm anything special.
You were aware of them all and you went after them.
Yeah, I decided to be like, let's just see what this is.
So and therein lies the gift.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, listen, oh my God. So I just love you. I need you on the podcast all the time. No, I'm joking. So if people want to connect with you, which I know people are going to want to connect with you 100%, where can they find you? What services do you offer to them?
So my new project is the Path of Self-Sovereignty. Check me out on the website there. I've got a load of articles and stuff. I'm writing more and more. When we get out of this period of time we're in the next few weeks, hopefully, I'm going to be putting on events and stuff, maybe a lot of live streams as well, because I think the world's moving more digitally, aren't they, now as well? So just to assist people moving from the process of awakening and through to integrating into their family lives and that of their business. I tend to find entrepreneurialism is a manifestation of the free soul a little bit. And there's a lot of people now becoming entrepreneurs. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's a manifestation of a development of our psyche, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I was very, very lucky to started about 10 companies in about 10 years. A couple of them have even made money. The rest of them have nearly wiped me out. But I've got quite a lot of experience in setting up businesses and stuff. So I'm targeting those people who want to step into entrepreneurialism and or who already own their own business, who want to take that to the next level while integrating their awakening process, because it's not easy. Don't let my words put that onto you, but from my experience, that is not an easy process to undertake. this spiritual movement or spiritually driven people, as I like to call it, a lot of the people are broke. They've got no money. Spiritually, the bank balance is full, but the physical bank balance is bankrupt. You know, is it set up that way? Possibly, if you study the history of money. It's not good. But, you know, it's only an energy exchange. And if you're not happy with your financial situation, there's something you can do about that. There's systems and processes you can put in place to make that easier for you. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I hope to see you again, Cassie, soon. I don't know, have we ever met in the flesh? I don't think we have.
No.
Come round for some liver and bacon. You're not judged here.
I will, and then I'll come and borrow a shotgun for when they come round with the bloody.
That's it, man. Get yourself a shotgun license. Buy a shotgun, so if they come round, you can blow their head off.
Literally, that's a conversation for a different time. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to stop the recording button now. So, listeners, Goodbye. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Cassie.
And there you have it. That was our podcast with the lovely Alex Hickman. Remember to give him a follow, let us know what you think, and as always, I'm here. Touch base, directly message me. I love to hear from you guys. Have the best day, have the best week, and I'll see you for the next episode soon.